Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call for a motion for the acceptance of the minutes of the October 11, 2022 meeting.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Public forum for this evening. Nothing. We'll move on to presentations for this evening. Call up to the podium Joe Carl, the LA Group, Lou Rodriguez, and Palumbo Group Athletic Field Master Plan Proposal. Gentlemen.
Hi, thank you very much.
Is that on?
Okay, it is working. Yes, my name is Joe Crawl with the LA Group. We are a firm of landscape architects and civil engineers. And right now I'm handing out some packets, just some background on our firm, what we offer, and the kind of services that we can help your school district with. The reason I'm here tonight is to go over, in general, master planning that we can help you with for your exterior athletic facilities. Mainly, what we look to do is get your input on what your vision is for your school district, where you would like to be in 10, 15, 20 years. We will take a look at all your existing facilities and give you an idea of things that need to be repaired, things that don't measure up currently to regulations. We'll also look at your peer schools, other schools that you compete against, and give you an idea of where you stand in comparison to them. For example, if you happen to be the only school district among your peers who does not have a synthetic turf field, that tends to be something that opens eyes up in a school district of, do you really want that? Do you really need that? Well, we probably need that to keep up with the other school districts, as an example. Timeline on this would be, we could get started during the winter, and what I'd like to see is if we could get a group together. Some school districts grab a couple of students, a couple of parents, a couple of coaches, business officials, superintendent, essentially to get as many stakeholders as we can to get input on what the visions are, what the desires are, where you'd like, again, to see everything going in the future for the school district. Probably later into the late spring would be when I'd be able to provide you with a report, or let's call it a preliminary report, where I'd essentially give you my findings, and from there we'd be able to take that and end up melding that into a master plan for you, where we would give you a good, better, and best scenario for each one of the properties or each one of your athletic facilities. Generally speaking, your good is going to be your very simple repairs, things that you can do easily that get you up to par or, in a decent standing for your facilities. The better being something that gets you a little bit better than that, maybe better than the peers of your other school districts. And the best usually is, putting a little bit of dreaming out there. Do you want a two-story press box, for example? Do you want a 2,000-seat grandstand bleacher system? That's where the input comes in, and we would be providing the estimates that would go along with that, so you can see, yes, that is a possibility. It would fit. You could do this, but here's the price tag that goes along with it. And the main reason, or the big thing that this helps with to have this report, is it provides you the pricing. So if you know what you want out of that report, you can go for the funding for it. Or if you know you have a certain amount of money, it helps you to plan things over a certain period of time. So you're not doing one project where the following project requires you to undo work you just previously had completed. So it helps you to have a vision for the whole area as one, and it helps you to move forward and have a very good plan in place to make, let's call them educated decisions as you move forward.
Thank you. Very intrigued as to what you said about getting some stakeholders involved. The first thing I would like to do is appoint a committee of the board to go out and do that very thing and to get this discussion going further. So I will ask for 3 members of our board to be on to lead this committee and to steer it in the right directions. John, do I have any volunteers?
Yeah, I'm in.
I'll do it
Ethan?
if no one else wants.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it and see what we can do.
John, Ethan, Iris, one more, Jody? Okay. So we have 4 members of the board, Ethan, Jody, John, and Iris.
If Jody wants to do it, I won't. It's
We
fine.
could have 4, that's fine.
Okay.
We could have 4. So we'll do 4 persons, and that committee will be charged with going out and getting a hold of stakeholders and getting them involved in meeting, and then report back to the board. And we will get updates from you as you once you get your people together and you get everybody ready to go forward and meet with obviously with our architects and Mr. Carl and everybody else involved there. So we can get forward and get these discussions going. Thank you. Thank you. Anything else?
I guess if you want to email me directly, it'd probably be good if it's a mass email, everybody's included, but Lisa does have my email address. She can share that information with all
We'll
of you.
get it all together. Joe, also, just looking for like a timeline on it, once we get the stakeholders meeting, see where we are. I'm assuming Scott or someone from the Palumbo group would be sitting.
Yeah, they'll be part of that. John?
So I see the list of school districts that you've worked with here, and I want us to be on this list as soon as possible. You mentioned looking down the road at 5, 10, or 20 years from now. We've had a lot of projects that are on hold because of state ed. If we got the committee going and we looked at everything we had, and I talked my colleagues into going for the best, what's a reasonable time to assume if we did a vote that we could get this to reality?
To reality. Generally speaking, I would say each project has a timeline of about 1 year, saying that you make the decision you want to go for that project, you have to go through state environmental quality review. That's going to take some time. You have to get through a proposition vote. That's going to take some time. You have to make sure you have your funding in place. That takes some time. And then the design of the project usually takes the most amount of time, 4, 5, 6 months, somewhere in there. And then once the project is put out to bid, you're generally looking at another 5 to 8 month period of construction.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
like I said, in general, each project, unless you're doing multiple projects at the same time, are going to be about a 1 year lifespan.
Thank you.
I just want to also comment that the existing capital project we're working in right now in one of the phases has some work on the baseball and softball fields. So, and I don't think that's the summer of '24. I think, is it the summer? That's the summer of '25. So based on these recommendations, there's some money in the budget for those fields that we could look at and see if we have to tweak or make any modifications to. So this falls within the timeline where, correct me if I'm wrong, we're not going to do the work and then have to double back and do something different. Is that correct? Scott, so
So-
you're both not nodding.
For control purposes only, for the board committee, I will ask the board to come back on the 22nd of November and give us a preliminary report or where we are with getting this committee together. So November 22nd, for control purposes only. Jody?
Just quickly thinking, then we should probably, once the committee gets established, our first meeting should be basically with the baseball and softball field, so we're not redoing something later on, if that's going to be in our, if we have that already budgeted for some allocations.
Yeah, so let me say that when Joe initially came down and met with us, he did look, I'm not speaking for you, so chime in, see if I get this right. He did look at the fields, specifically the baseball field in the back, one of the fields in the back, and he saw that the way it sits, the way it's situated, why don't you say it so I don't like
She's referring to the orientation of it. In general, your baseball and softball fields to have the most, let's call them common or best scenario for orientation is with the batter looking in a north-northeast direction. That generally, the way it plays out, it keeps it the safest for all players on the field. That being said, not every single field is in that orientation. It works out differently for different areas. It all just depends on the space you have to work with and just the way the sun happens to set. If you're in a valley, obviously you're going to be in a shadow more than you would if you were up in a plain area where the sun's going to be in your eyes more for a longer period of time. But to touch on the timing, as you were mentioning, this report, I would think we would have a master plan ready for you to basically run with and start planning your projects. I would say late spring, early summer of '23. And the projects that you already have slated money for the baseball and softball field, as we said, that's looking like summer of '25. We'll have plenty of time to look at what the master plan is ended up being and how these projects can fit in.
Thank you.
And the
Yes.
committee will establish their, obviously you'll work with Joe and the group, but the committee will establish exactly where you guys are going to go and what you're going to talk about and what you're going to address as far as fields call and master plans. John?
Yeah, one question for Joe and one for you, Phil. So if we do, say we were going to do our baseball and softball fields, it's not because they're flat, it's not as difficult to move the orientation of the fields to what would be best suited. And I understand that you guys take a look at the whole piece of property, so let's just say that if it's best situated, that baseball field might not even be close to where it is now, might be in another part of that whole spread of land.
It very well could be.
Okay, thank you. Phil, just a question on the committee. Are we sticking with just the board committee to get started and then we'll go out and look for stakeholders?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, nothing further? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. We will move on to report. No. We'll move on to reports, information, and correspondence. For myself, first, I'd just like to publicly thank Mr. Burns and Patty and Steinhoff. I know she hates to be thanked, but she's here and she's going to be thanked. She's over there trying to hide under the table. But we will thank everybody for the work they did on the Hall of Fame committee. That ceremony was awesome. The breakfast was really good. Thanks to Marcus and his crew at Aroma Time. The food was excellent. And everybody, all your staff and everybody that worked with you, John, wonderful job, lasting, really went over well with the community, and just glad that the day's events certainly was a little emotional, but it was good, and it was great, actually, not good, but great. So thank you, John.
Thank you.
That's it for me. Anybody else? John?
Yeah, it was a great day, and I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. Again, I want to relay to the public that it wasn't just my efforts or the committee of Patty and Katie Burns and Patty Steinhoff and the athletic director, the superintendent, the Board of Education, the TV and radio station, Aroma Time, even Alice at Engravings Unlimited got us all those plaques on time. And there might be a slight chance that we went over budget, and I'll do battle with Vince over that.
Vince is eagerly awaiting your next
Yes,
syllable.
I know he is.
Okay, anybody else? We'll move on to our student representative. Always looking forward to his informative reports. Jack Henry.
All right, so we're going to begin with our student happenings. The junior, senior high school student council, along with our phys ed teachers, had their pep rally on Friday. Some events included the potato sack race, the tug of war, scuba gear relay, and the hula hoop relay. Many of our 7th to 12th grade students participated, and everyone had a fun time that afternoon. An internet safety assembly for grades 7 through 9 was held yesterday with New York State Trooper Watt. Students learned about cell phone safety and how to be safe and secure while on social media apps. On Halloween 31st, there will be a Halloween dress-up day. No face masks are allowed. For events, the homecoming dance was held on Saturday evening in the senior high school gym. It was a sold-out event, and over 270 of our 9th through 12th grade students showed up and had a great time. Congratulations to the following homecoming court: freshman royalty Frankie Maldonado and Jasleen Martiri, Sophomore royalty, Maddox Gaselfi and Sienna Thomas. Junior royalty, Dylan Nero and Miranda Jones. Senior royalty, King Julius Maldonado and Queen Yondelise Bruce. The walk over the Hudson to end Alzheimer's was held on Saturday the 15th. The event was sponsored by the Key Club. The Strong Together Breast Cancer Walk was held on Sunday the 23rd, where the Junior Senior High School Student Council and the Ellenville Police Department walked through the town. A representative from the Ellenville Regional Hospital was there with handouts and lots of information for our walkers. All proceeds from the walk will be donated to the National Cancer Association. Our annual Senior Spaghetti Supper will be held on Tuesday the 8th, Election Day, in the high school cafeteria from 5 to 8 p.m. Tickets are on sale now for $15 each. There will be a delicious homemade spaghetti, meatballs, garlic bread, salad, and an ice cream sundae bar for dessert. To-go meals will be available as well. The Junior Senior High School Student Council will be hosting their annual Thanksgiving food drive. All food collected will be donated to our local Ellenville food pantries. Donation boxes will be located in both junior and senior high school lobbies. To athletics now. Varsity football won their game at home and honored their senior players on Friday. The varsity football team qualified for sectionals and will play Spack and Kill on the road on Friday at 6 o'clock. Modified football, the kids are playing hard and it shows. They are doing great with 3 wins and only 1 loss this season. Their next game is tomorrow at Rondout. Varsity girls soccer, our varsity girls soccer team also got an invitation to sectionals and will play Our Lady of Lourdes in the first round. Volleyball, the senior night was Sunday night the 23rd. Our girls volleyball program is continuing to show improvement and the program is getting stronger each year. Please check the athletic department's Twitter page at Ellenville Athletics at Blue Devil Sports for amazing photos and up-to-date stories on all of our Ellenville athletes. Winter sports sign-ups are in Family ID are underway. Please sign up if your child plans on playing a winter sport. Practice for JV and varsity winter teams will begin on the 14th of November, and modified practices will begin on the 21st. The Hall of Fame induction was held on the 15th and was a huge success and drew a large crowd. And finally, to fundraising, the Class of 2023 Cornucopias fundraiser, Class of 2025 Little Caesars fundraiser. The Class of 2026 is selling Gertrude Hawk, and the Class of 2027 Cinnabon orders will be in on the 4th. And the Student Council Blue Devils merchandise online store at Junior Senior High School Student Council Blue Devils gear.
You have to end that with, and I'm Jack Henry, CBS News. That's fantastic, Jack. Thank you very much. Yes, we have a question for
I
you.
have a question. Your last piece about ordering like T-shirts and stuff like that, where do you find that?
I believe there is a website for that. There were certain things where you can scan your cell phone camera to a QR code for it, but there's a website for it. So I believe
But
that's,
it's not part of the school's website. So if I wanted to order something, where would I go to order it?
I believe it would be, like I said, there's a website for it, but there's also a QR code for it, so you can scan your camera to the QR code and it'll send you right to the link, and then you can order from there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Iris, over here, right across from you. If you watch that TV that's over by the circulation desk, eventually it shows up with the QR code that Jack is talking about. The
Right.
information for those T-shirts and whatnot is there, and Mrs. Doria also maintains a page on our website. If you just go to our school's website and type in fundraisers, you can access
Oh,
that
that's right.
right off the district's website.
So it's the school's website, and there's a section there for fundraisers.
Correct.
Thank you, Vince.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jack. We will move on to Superintendent Lisa Wiles.
So just a few things this evening. I do want to comment also on the Hall of Fame. We've had a few of them. It was really an unbelievable event. Just want to thank the board and especially John for all of your efforts getting it going, making it grow. On the heels of that, this past weekend, we had homecoming. And I just want to share that I was able to be at the dance, although I didn't go into the gym. Superintendents in the gym during homecoming kind of ruin the mood, right? But that being said, I just want to commend our students. I think it was such a great event and record number of students, 275 students at the dance. No issues and just a lot of fun from what I saw. followed, that was on Saturday night, and the football game was Friday night. And just really proud of the building school spirit, and students really are getting involved again and getting out. So we're really proud of all of you, and kudos to Mrs. Conacher and to Mrs. Pfeffer Burns for all the hard work that they did. The Booster Club did work for the homecoming and for the Hall of Fame, so there's a lot of community spirit and Ellenville pride in the air, so we're very appreciative of that. I also want to thank the board for all of your support, and know that the district truly appreciates you on the heels of Board Appreciation Week, which was last week, October 17th through the 21st. So I know you get paid a whole lot of money, which is zero.
We come for the company.
But we do appreciate your steadfast and heartfelt commitment to the students and to the staff of the district. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Wiles. Move on to Assistant Superintendent for Business, Vince Napoli.
Thank you. Just as a reminder, I put the plans for the elementary school, the new library, in my report, and I also have some swatches over here, thanks to Scott Butler from the Palumbo Group, of what the fabric of the furniture will, the colors and what it feels like. So if you want to, kick the tires of the car, you're welcome to come on over here and do that. I do have some information and some links regarding the food waste. I know we had a discussion at my last, during my last report. I did reach out to the county, and it turns out that somehow the state reported the entire district for the elementary school, but that also means that because we're on one campus, they used all of our students, and I put the calculators that they have in there to make the determination of how much food waste would be generated based on the number of students at a site. I am going to be applying for a waiver, which I'm pretty sure I can get, because we've been measuring the amount of food waste back of the house. That means what comes out of the kitchen, it's less than 20 pounds a day. It's usually more like around 12. So I'll be submitting that, but it looks like most school districts in Ulster County will have to do this depending on their student population. More to follow on that, but I've been having discussions. I'm having a conversation with someone from the county later this week. Just giving them more of the information that I'm collecting here at the district.
Good, Vince?
Hold on. And one of my last bullets, I did provide a link to the healthcare worker bonus program. So if you want to read more about that, that's at the bottom of my report. You can click that and you can learn more about the details, but I can also provide more information if anybody wants it in my next report on that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Vince. John?
Yeah, Vince, I noticed I had taken a look at the New York enrollment projection, and it seems like our district is continuing to head down in terms of numbers. And anything on that? Is it?
So they use live births. They use a lot of data from local agencies to make those predictions. Right now, we're projected to be pretty low. We don't know what type of developments would bring people into the community in the future, so that can always change. That's why I provide an annual update for the enrollment projections, but I think most of the schools in New York, with the exception of a few, we're losing enrollment every year.
The Neville project and another company coming in could change that, though.
It very well could, sure. It depends on the type of people that purchase, whether they have children or not, right? Can directly impact how many students are enrolled in the district.
And just for information, can you give us a ballpark on current and maybe where we're headed in the next few years, number-wise?
Sure. I don't, like
about-
1477, 1473.
It's fluctuating between 1480 and 1500 in any given month, but we'll make sure that we put that enrollment notebook in the report in by month, which tracks it. We'll make sure you get that. I think we were at 1480.
Yeah, that's different than the report that I provided. The one that I provided is a multi-year look ahead based on live births. So if a child was born 4 years ago, we expect them to be a kindergartner next year. It's those types of data that they use to make projections. The one that the superintendent's talking about is something that we track out of the business office, what our actual enrollment is every month.
So we've lost approximately, if I'm correct in looking at this chart, about 300 or 400 students in the last 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, I can remember when I started here, I think we were at, that was in 99, we were at around 2,200 maybe?
2,200.
Wow.
So since 99 to now, we're down significantly. But I would say probably 5 or 6 years ago, we were at 1,800. So between 5 or 6 years to now, you can tell it's so indicative when you look at the class sizes. So we used to, a healthy class size for us would be anywhere from 120 to 140 students. And we're still seeing 120 at the high school level, even, 8th grade. If you look at the incoming classes, which is a direct reflection of the live birth rate, this year our kindergarten class is like 85. So we're 85 to 100. That seems to be like where we're hovering of incoming. But again, that could change if families move into the district and there's some, growth here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just like to compliment Vince, Kelly, Lisa. We received an outstanding report from our external auditors, and it's a credit to you and your staff and everybody involved in that. You guys are the gatekeepers. It starts and ends with you, and we appreciate, obviously, the job you're doing by the reports we're getting. So thank you. Deputy Superintendent Kelly White.
Good evening. We were excited this week to host a group of educators from Indiana who is interested in our P-TECH model. So we had about 10 to 12 representatives here on Monday that visited our P-TECH Academy, spoke with the teachers and the students to learn about the school within a school model. And it was awesome to hear the students talk about their experience so far in the program and plans as we continue to move forward. So excited for that exposure to our program. Additionally, there is a proposal that was within my board report for the Science Lab initiative. So the district is going to be awarded $95,000 in grant funds from the Science Lab initiative, which is a program out of the county to support science and technology instruction in schools. And the initiative is really to provide students with experiences beyond the traditional curriculum. So this isn't money to buy traditional lab equipment and traditional computers. It's to provide experiences that are outside the regular classroom experience. So we're looking into some creative ways to house that based on shifts in enrollment and the reconfiguration of the junior, senior high school. So we'll be submitting our proposal to the county by November 1st for the equipment that we're requesting, and we're hoping to build some type of science lab in district for all students to access K through 12 and to encourage cross-grade level learning and exposing students to pathways in science and generating that interest at a much younger age. Iris, I saw your...
Yeah, it's a great idea, and it's an adjustment in my mind to think that we'll take over the library in the middle school, but I know that once I get more information, I'll be clear about it. But there was a piece of this that is concerning to me. I don't think that it's going to be practical or even doable to put a greenhouse inside.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I would like to suggest that we find a place to create this program outside. A greenhouse within the space. I don't have a lot of experience with greenhouses, but there's barely any light in there to begin with, so you would really have to use artificial light all the time. And growing vegetables inside and stuff is, not an easy task. But the other concern is if you go into a greenhouse, there's always portable windows that open, or there's a vent system of some kind, or there's even exhaust fans because of the humidity. So that's why it's better if it can vent outside rather than into space. So I would love to see you find a place and include that as part of this project, but not inside the building. I don't really think that will work.
Yeah, Vince had looked into that after I had built the proposal with the committee that we met with. And the lab, the location we're looking at is too small anyway to house an indoor greenhouse, so I found that information out after this was submitted. So we would be looking at some indoor growing options, maybe for starting plants, teaching students about planting, photosynthesis, but we could definitely explore, if we wanted to, an outdoor greenhouse space.
Yeah, well, some kind of a growing program would be great.
Yeah.
I just don't think that growing inside, I mean, the kids can plant things and put them on the windowsills. You know, they have a lot of light down in the elementary and whatever, but a greenhouse functioning inside of the space,
Yeah, we
I
won't
don't
be able to
think
do
that
it inside.
will work.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, but it's a great idea, so I hope we can follow through.
No, absolutely. And I also wanted to share the elementary school is planning for another family engagement night on November 29th. So that was a huge success for our K-6 students and families last year. So they're going to take the feedback received from last year's program and continue to build upon that. So more information will be out from the building principal regarding that event. And lastly, on an annual basis, the district is required to survey families regarding their access to technology and internet in the home. So we did the digital equity survey last year, and we do need to continue to update that information from families on an annual basis. So there will be a survey available on our social media sites, website, and we'll also be doing a mailing to encourage parents to report to us their access to internet and devices in the home for their children.
Can I ask a question?
Thank you, Iris.
When we find students that don't have access, I'm assuming must be some, what is the remedy for that? Or is there no remedy?
During COVID, there were a handful of families that we either supported them with getting access to internet in the home. So for some families, that there wasn't any wires that led up to the home, and we worked with the local cable companies, right, Verizon for hotspots, for access. And then last year, we had about 8 families, and we have money through title funding where we can support students access to the internet if they like that as an option. So we offered that to about 8 families last year.
Oh, we do? Oh, okay.
And
Thank
we're
you.
also working with the town and the county to see if permanent access. could be-
Right. But I just wanted to be sure that all the students have, everybody has to have a shot at that, so, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. While I know that Scott Butler and Lou Rodriguez really love staying for our meetings, but construction people get up early. We have a resolution that is directly connected to them under 10.1. I'd like to ask the board for a motion to modify,
moved.
amend the agenda to move that.
Second.
It's been moved in 10.1. It's been moved and seconded. Under that, it's whereas on October 18th, 2022, and it goes on, it's already been moved and seconded, so you'll see the amount of money. But I just want to thank Lou and Scott for the amount of money that they saved the district with this bid and being very diligent in going out and coming back with a significant savings to the district. So thank you for your work, gentlemen. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. We realize you got to get up early. It's construction. So. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Under personnel resolutions for this evening, upon recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be it resolved that Anthony Colazzo holds an emergency COVID-19 New York State certificate in the area of English Language Arts. 7/12, be appointed to a 4-year probationary term, tenure area of English Language Arts, effective November 7, 2022 through November 6, 2026.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a
Second.
second? Seconded. Discussion?
Yes, just a quick
Yeah.
question. When they get an emergency COVID state certificate, and that's it? Or they,
No,
what
there's an
happens?
expiration date on it, and at the same time, they're working on finalizing their certification. It allows them to work for a couple of years while they finalize that.
So they have a commitment to finalize it?
Oh,
In other
yes.
words, a couple of years down the road, we won't find out that they can't be teaching anymore?
Well, if
you know?
people don't follow through on certification, whether it's this or not, they can't teach anymore. And, but there's no doubt that
That will be taken care of?
that'll be taken.
And we follow up to make sure, of
Of course.
course?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be resolved that the resignation of Annette Steele, teacher aide, be accepted for the purposes of retirement.
So moved.
It's
Second.
been- And we want to say with regret, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be resolved the following substitute personnel.
Move the list.
Second.
The list has been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be it resolved that the co-curricular personnel set forth in the attached list be approved with the contractual
So
rate.
moved.
Been
Second.
moved, seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be resolved the attached list of junior, senior high school extended day programs be approved at the contractual rate.
Move the list.
It's been moved.
Second.
Seconded, discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be it resolved that the memorandum of agreement between the Ellenville Central School District and the ETS RPA.
Motion to move 6.6 and 6.7 memorandums of agreement with the ETA.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be it resolved the following winter coaches. be
Move the
approved.
list.
List has been moved.
Second.
And seconded. Discussion. Mr. Burns.
Yeah, I noticed, I thought I saw our athletic director here. We're still missing, it looks like 4 coaching positions for the winter sport. It appears as a varsity boys indoor track assistant, track and field, and then the modified girls and modified boys, modified track. So there was a whole program right there. And then, of course, my favorite, modified wrestling. So how are we looking at those? I was hoping Ron was still here.
Yeah, he's still, we haven't put an ad out yet, but he's trying to develop some interest within and reaching out to people that he knows. If anyone has any, input for that, it would be greatly appreciated.
So the ad would be for outside as well? It's not, it hasn't been posted internally?
It's been posted internally, but
And,
the ad would be for external.
right, we're not that far off the winter season.
I know,
So are we doing signups with kids?
we are,
Okay.
we are.
All right, thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. Be resolved that the superintendent of schools is authorized to approve up to 10 hours of professional development.
So moved.
Been moved? Seconded. Discussion. Is there a, do we list what the payment is for the professional development per hour?
It's contractual, so the PD, it's 41?
41.
$41 an hour.
And the list of teachers is attached, or are they just
No.
This
we-
was the approval,
a blanket?
like,
Okay. Any further discussion?
Question.
Mr.
Kelly,
Burns.
do we do a report on, say we offer everybody 20 hours, how many teachers take us up on that? How many do the 20? How many do 16? Can we get those? Because I know last year we did a couple
Yeah.
off of the
Yeah.
COVID. We did a bunch of trainings to help the teachers. But it'd be interesting to see, who's taking advantage
Yeah, I
of
can
some of
provide
those. Or how many. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. Under policy for this evening.
Motion move 7.1 and 7.2.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. Under budget resolutions for this evening.
Motion move 8.1 and 8.2.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. Under education resolutions for this evening. Student IEPs, resolve the attached list of student IEPs be acknowledged as appropriate. There are 50. Been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. Volunteers, resolve the following list of volunteers be approved for the 22-23 school year.
Move the list.
Second.
List has been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. 10.1 we did. We're on 10.2. Resolve the following architect payments for.
Motion move 10.2 to 10.5.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Under other resolutions for this evening. 11.1.
Motion to move 11.1 to 11.6.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a workshop on November 1st. It's a board administrators retreat. It's not open to the public. It's 5:30 to 8:30, so mark your calendars. Our next official meeting will be November 22nd. And is there anything anybody would like to see on the next agenda? Iris?
I just wanted to know, are we going to try to have a policy meeting?
Yes,
On
I'll
the
have-
November 8th?
I'll have Nafisa pull the policy committee and see if everyone can be there on the 8th.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any further discussion? I'd like to wish everybody a happy Halloween coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I got my candy.
It's going to be back to normal. I'm sure the kids will be out and about. We hope they stay safe. That's the biggest thing.
And no
Get
bears.
lots of candy. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Move second to discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? We're adjourned.